Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you. Sometimes we just have to take the road less traveled. I started this campaign on the road less traveled. I didn't begin with a press conference, with a big speech, with telling you all my accomplishments and all my ideas. I started by listening. No, I held round tables and town hall meetings all across the state. We went from Wichita to Johnson County, from Hill City to Kansas City, from Coffeyville to Goodland, from Ashland to Salina, and all kinds of places in between. And listen to people. Now, these were not Ed O'Malley rallies. I told each host, many of them are here today, I said, get the most diverse group together that you can find. These weren't times to be a cheerleader for Ed O'Malley. These were gatherings of Kansans coming together from different perspectives to talk about our future, talk about the state, and talk about what's needed next. And they had a lot to say. When you listen, you really hear Kansans talk about two big concerns: education and our state budget situation. Two big concerns. What makes progress so difficult on those two things? Number one, our inability to come together across divides and compromise. Number two, apathy from citizens. And number three, excessive partisanship. So therefore, what do we need from the next governor, according to Kansans? A governor that can bring people together across divides, a governor with strong fiscal sense, and a governor with a nonpartisan perspective. Not far behind those ideas was the ability to cast a vision. I mean, just think about it. When was the last time we really had a vision that Kansans bought into? A vision that enough people from different perspectives were all working towards. A vision has to be big and bold. It must feel like it's beyond your reach, but actually be within your grasp. This process of listening has helped me craft the vision, or beginning to craft the vision for this state. And I want to share that with you tonight. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for coming here to listen and hear what I heard from so many of our fellow Kansans. The vision's taking shape in my head, and it's got to connect to what concerns people the most. You know, they're concerned about the state fiscal situation. And they know the connection between our state budget and our economy. We do have to grow our economy. That's very important to Kansans. And the typical way, the road frequently traveled for growing the economy is to talk about business-friendly policies and reducing regulation. Well, we'll do those things. We'll do the smartest of all those things. I don't think those things are enough to create a game-changing type environment. I don't think just passing policies that any other state could pass is enough. So here's how my mind works. What can we do? What can we do? What's unique to Kansas that we could do that would be distinctive? That would help us have a thriving economy for generations to come. Not for the next couple of years, but for generations to come. Well, Kansans, they talk about our work ethic. They talk about our values. They also talk a lot about our schools. We've got good schools. I'm proud of our schools. But just imagine if there was no place on earth that had a better lifelong learning system, a better education system, no place on earth that had better schools, colleges, and universities than here in Kansas. We can accomplish that. We can accomplish that. That vision is within our grasp. We could do that. And imagine if we did. Imagine what that would mean for our economy. Just think about it for a moment. Just think about it. Your company would grow here. It would grow here because of the talent. New businesses would thrive here. Companies would locate here because of the talent pool. Here, this is my favorite way to think about it. Your children would be here, your grown children, because of the education your grandchildren would receive. And we could accomplish this, and it would lead to a thriving economy. It is not the road frequently traveled. It is a road less traveled, but it is a vision that we can accomplish. They're tired of the fiscal situation, and they're torn. Like a lot of us, they're torn. On one hand, they are completely embarrassed. Our current politics, typical politics, gave us a situation where we had the largest tax cut in history in 2012, followed by the largest tax increase in history in 2015, followed by an even larger tax increase in 2017. Typical politics gave us a completely illogical pattern of taxes. Right? They want it fixed. And frankly, they really would rather have a lower tax burden. I mean, when you listen, especially in parts of the state that are hurting, taxes matter. And they would prefer to have lower taxes if that's possible. So here's how I think about it. Here's what I think the road less traveled is. We've got to find a way to reduce the cost of government, right? And politicians get this all wrong. What we need to do is not sit in the Capitol as an elected official and slash budgets. We need to find a way to incentivize that highway engineer, to design that interchange in a way that has all of the safety and all of the quality, but at 80% of the cost. And you know what? We need to reward her for doing so. We need to incentivize her for doing so. What we need is that school principal. We need that school principal to figure out how to get how to get even better outcomes, but at 90% of the cost. And then we need to reward him and incentivize him to do that. We'll bring economic incentives fully to bear in our public workforce. We will create the most entrepreneurial public workforce in America. And as we do that, we'll bend the cost curve of government. We will show our ability to reduce the cost of government. And as we do that, thank you. And as we do that, as we create the most entrepreneurial public workforce, the most entrepreneurial people inside government, figuring out how to reduce the cost of government and make it better, we'll be able to reduce the tax burden responsibly. Now here's the road even less traveled. This is the one that is completely less traveled in modern day politics. For this to happen, for this vision to happen, Republicans, Democrats, and independents must exercise leadership. And they might not all like to hear this, but they must exercise leadership together. And we will need leadership from a governor that begets leadership from across the spectrum. This must be a Kansas vision. It cannot be a Republican vision. It cannot be a Democratic vision. It must be a Kansas vision. Now, I'm a Republican. I bring traditional, pragmatic, conservative values to this vision. I believe in limited government. I want government to do its part and to do it incredibly well, but I don't think it can do everything. I believe in local control. I believe in the freedom of the individual. I believe that society's problems aren't solved by government. They're solved by us with compassion and ingenuity and heart and love and creativity. Government is a shareholder in that work, but is not the chief executive. That's how I think about it. Now, I can bring those values to this vision, and we can work the vision together. It has to be worked together. 3 big ideas. Grow the economy by creating the best schools, period. Create the most entrepreneurial public workforce so we can bend the cost curve and reduce taxes responsibly. And do it with the type of leadership that we'll need to make this vision a reality. I can win this race. I can bring people together. I can find and help others find the value that exists in the different perspectives to chart a course forward. And should Joanna and I decide to run, I promise to you that I'll run and I will serve in a way consistent with bringing people together. My faith tells me that when we bring people together, we will find real solutions, real ways forward, but we only do it if we do it together. I'd ask for your prayers. I'd ask you to pray that Joanna and I discern correctly what we heard from Kansans, and that should we do this, we will have the courage to take the road less traveled. It will make all the difference. Thank you. Good night. Ad astra per aspera. Thank you.
All right, Governor, let's go.